So my greetings and salutations to the director, the associate director, and of course we have deputy directors and group directors and the women fraternity, the chairperson Gayatri Devi ma'am, and every one of you over there, IPRC, the whole lot there, including through IPRC maybe ISRO also. Salutations and greetings and best wishes, congratulations, everything come not for the day alone. I represent in totality the population of whole India for the service you have been rendering. Nothing could stop you. Pandemic is certainly not a kind of a speed breaker for you. Nothing could deter you from your path. Nothing can blur your vision. Nothing can slacken your speed. Thank you ever so much. Congratulations. We are so proud of you. So very proud of you, and I'm extremely delighted, honored and humbled all at once. My emotions are extremely mixed because I have been invited by you all for the second time. As the director could recollect, thanks a lot for the centenary celebration of Vikram Sarabhai. I was there to address young boys and girls, and I was so delighted when I was given a memento. Right, and it is of course a small model of a rocket, and I was eagerly waiting. I was even wondering whether you would just offer me a kind of a bouquet and a shawl and will not even consider me worthy of that kind of a memento. That memento is there in the drawing hall. I address you all from my library, and to whomsoever who visits me, I always very proudly show how I have been invited by you at one point of time, and this is the second occasion, and I have my fingers crossed that many more such invitations would come from your end, where in person I can come and meet you all. And you're most welcome to my home also, because this is a kind of, I have traveled into your campus and you have traveled into my house. Thank you ever so much. And let me greet you again. The invitation has come specifically for the International Women's Day celebration. And you have chosen a person like me because I happen to be one who celebrates Women's Day on all the 365 days. It's certainly not one day. I do not confine myself to a day. I rather celebrate it every other day, because being a woman, it warrants celebration. For me, celebration is accountability, celebration is responsibility, and that's exactly why I gave you the topic, womanhood, a great opportunity. My question now is, when I saw the audience, I think your age, the audience, the age group should be from, I think, late 20s or early 30s to maybe mid 50s. It should be that way. That's exactly how I could gather. And thank you ever so much for this cross section. And as the director did make a point about the ratio in which the women population has been distributed in your own campus, and he was feeling extremely sad, I stand by him also. But one of the deputy directors immediately could compensate it for saying that when he was doing his mechanical engineering program, there were hardly 3 women in his class. But when he went over to an engineering college to have his own children to get admitted, it was almost equal. I do not know how many of you saw me on the screen. I was literally clapping happily, because one generation could make a giant leap for the women folk. But my question at present is, I really, maybe as a teacher, I always carry a notepad with me whenever I go to a meeting or whenever I sit amongst the audience to listen to a lecture. I was eagerly looking at every one of you, but I think every one of you all came to the hall after finishing your lunch. Maybe you all rushed over there. You would not have had time to carry along with you a scribbling pad or a notepad, which I always insist, because we do not know which word from a speaker would ignite something which is dormant in us, which word would provoke us, which word would challenge us. We do not know. It may be a word, it may be a phrase, it may be a sentence, it may be the complete lecture. But there is always an opportunity waiting for us, and we have to identify the opportunity. Fine. Now my question is, why did I ask for a scribbling pad? Because this is a bit of a work. It is a kind of a work, or you may carry it in your memory. Go back to your seat, go back home, share it with your daughter, share it with your mother, share it with your mother-in-law, share it with your brothers, share it with your father, share it with your life partner. Ask what do they think of this. Just not a day of celebration, just not few speakers invited, just not a day off or a half a day off, just not the presents or the awards being given, the prizes being distributed, so that we wait for another 364 days to again collect, gather and have one common theme. No, that's why I said every other day is a day of celebration for me, because it worths it. Never ever will we be young again. Never ever will I get another chance to see you all on the 23rd of March of 2021. I have, once I started talking, I think it's already 5 to 6 minutes already gone. Never will I ever get back the time. So what do? I live with so much of enthusiasm, or rather so much of lustfully living eagerly, living intensely, living with intent also, if that is correct. My question to you, you may be a 29-year-old or a 30-year-old, or you may be 55 or 56, or you are drawing closer to your retirement time, whatever it is, men and women. My question is just this: would you like to be a woman or a man, or the woman or the man? That is, A is always an indefinite article. It just makes you one among the lot. Just an ordinary person, not somebody special, not somebody unique, not somebody rare, not somebody noticeable, not somebody praiseworthy. A just means that you're one among the lot. Make a decision, because you say you choose to challenge. But what kind of a choice do you make? And your choice will decide what kind of challenge you have taken. Do you challenge as a member of a team? Do you challenge as a member of a society or a community? Do you challenge as a member of a particular gender? Or do you take up a challenge all by yourself, all on yourself? We do not know. That's why my question is, would you like to be a woman? Or, I again use it with a definite article, with again a stress, so I do not say the woman, I would like to say the woman, because that is loved, right? If that is the case, with the emphasis we say the. If that is the case, would you like to be the woman or a woman? Now, why should I ask you this question? As a 30-year-old, would you like to be just another 30-year-old, or would you like to be a 30-year-old who is looked upon as somebody? As so beautifully the director could recall Alison Felix, how she could win 12 gold medals, and the last one after delivering a baby after 10 months, when everybody was doubtful about her, she had the least doubt about her potential, right? So she becomes the woman. All the 35-year-olds will just be one among the lot. She chose not to be one among the lot. She is just not a sports person. She becomes the sports person. So the definite article makes you grow inches taller than the rest. So my question today is, all those women who have assembled there, I include men also, because whenever I say Women's Day celebration, I would rather make it into Humans Day celebration, because we are not going to be gender specific. I personally believe we are all divine spirits poured into human form, that's all. And this human form can give us a kind of physical boundary, but certainly not spiritual boundary or intellectual boundary. If that is correct, if that is true, decide at present, immediately make a decision. Would you like to be just a woman, or do you insist, do you make a choice to challenge yourself and make yourself the woman, a woman with a definite article, a woman who is looked upon by people of your own age as somebody rare, somebody unique, somebody who is unusual, who is extraordinary, and somebody who has come upon this planet with a mission to be accomplished. So my question is very specific. Go home, ask yourself this question. The moment you start asking this question, the moment you start searching an answer for this question, you will understand that womanhood is just not to be, it is to become. It is an evolutionary process. The only difference is, if it is a biological evolution, a natural evolution, it is done unconsciously where you do not have any control over anything. But if it is an evolution of choice, if it is a metamorphosis of choice, then you evolve consciously, continuously, and with commitment. You decide your evolutionary pace, you decide your evolutionary proportions, you decide your benchmark, you decide your goal, and when you decide your benchmark, you will understand that your benchmark is not a stagnant one, your benchmark is a rolling benchmark. The moment you are about to touch it, it would roll away from you, as a result of which you are pursuing excellence and not perfection. Who wants perfection? Perfection becomes a kind of stagnation. If I am to be perfect today, I do not have anything to look forward to tomorrow. As long as I am imperfect, as long as I understand my imperfection, as long as I understand my weaknesses, the causes behind my weaknesses, I am able to work on them, and after some time, I know that I am not what I was, and I am going to be what I will be. So I am in continuous presence, proceeding towards my future, leaving behind my past. My past is just a point of reference and certainly not a point of residence. That's what happens to most of us. Women, make your past as a point of residence. For a powerful woman, a woman of quality, a woman of substance, past is after all a point of reference, and we refuse to reside there because we are all projects in progress. So we accept that. Having accepted that we would choose to be the women or the woman as a singular, we start working on it. So we may have to define our womanhood, because it's a great opportunity. It was a question asked by one of the college students. She just got up and asked me, "Ma'am, can you please condense womanhood in one word? What do you think of womanhood?" My answer was, without thinking, without spending much of time to contemplate over it, I said, womanhood is an opportunity. Had she given a choice of two words, I would have said great opportunity. Or had she said, given me an option of three words, I would have said the greatest opportunity. Because the moment I realize that it is an opportunity, I start expanding. I do not have any boundary, as ISRO does not have any boundary at all. Everybody says sky is a limit, but you all keep walking. You go for moonwalk up there. Sky happens to be a playground. Cosmos happens to be a playground. So when I talk about ISRO and when I talk about IPRC, I should say sky is your lower limit. Sky is not your limit. If I can say that about you, I should say the same thing about women also. Sky is just your lower limit. It's not your upper limit. Fine. If that is the case, how do I define womanhood? What do these letters stand for? What does each letter stand for? It is that's exactly why I wanted a scribbling pad. I am not testing your vocabulary, I am not testing your word power, but remember, if your vocabulary is rich, if your word power is rich, your imagination will be rich. Your imagination will be rich, your communication will be richer, because your imagination can grab all the words and understand, fathom the intensity with which you emote. If that is correct, what does the W of womanhood stand for? Now, I am going to look at the woman. I am not talking about a woman. I am talking about a woman with definite article. If that is the case, W stands for me. It is wisdom. It is wisdom. The moment, I mean, one of the last, the one who concluded, the deputy directors, he so beautifully made a poem where he said his mother was the greatest gift he could ever get, right? And what he would have really remembered is, he was talking about how his mother could stay by him, emotionally support him, intellectually pamper him, make him grow into a great adult. That is the wisdom I am talking about. Because W stands for wisdom, W stands for a warrior. Unfortunately, most of the women have become warriors and not warriors. I am not talking about a soldier. I am not talking about a fighter. I am talking about a warrior. War is of a longer duration. War will go on for a longer period of time. It's not a battle. It's not a quarrel. It's not a fight. I'm talking about a war. When you talk about the First World War, the Second World War, these wars did not just stop within a month. They went on for years. I call a woman a warrior because we are not talking about strength. We are talking about stamina. We are talking about sustained strength, which I address as stamina. If that is correct, every woman is wise, every woman is a warrior, and every woman can look at the picture as something in total, wholesome picture. A woman can see everything as a whole but not in fragments, because she always looks even at fragments as a part of something whole, as we have the Om Pujyamada Pujyamidam. Everything is absolute, everything is complete, everything is perfect. So we are a part of this absolute, we are a part of this completeness. If that is correct, that is a kind of universal wisdom. So W of womanhood for me personally stands for wisdom, and along with it, any woman who has realized that she is a warrior and she is born to fight for something. When you talk about an empowered woman, we just like that use that adjective, empowered women. We don't understand. Empowerment does not come by enjoying certain sanctions. Empowerment does not come by enjoying certain positions, occupying certain positions, or creating certain rules and regulations. Empowerment comes by empowering another person. The present generation women, we all are enjoying whatever have been given to us by women who fought for it. I could get my education thanks a lot to all those people who fought for me. If that is correct, right? If that is a thing, then we will understand that a woman looks at everything in total. So an empowered woman is one who fights for the empowerment of just not another woman, for the human race, for the community, for the society, so that the next generation will stand upon this giant of a woman, that it can have a better view of the whole world, right? So W stands for a warrior, W stands for wisdom, W stands for the wholesome, a holistic approach, HO, but I say a wholesome picture, a complete picture, W. If that is the case, W stands for something very unique in the woman, right? May I go for O? O stands for, we have for hood also, we have two more O's to come, but the first O for me is optimism. A woman is incurably optimistic. She is always positive. She is a reservoir of positivity, superabundance of positivity. Not a single moment does she lament over things that she has lost. Her question is, what next? Just imagine the way women have fought over this pandemic at the home front, at the social front, right? We have had millions of women who have come into the workforce. They may be doctors, they may be scientists, they may be nurses, they may be healthcare workers, they may be hygiene, people who spread cleanliness and hygiene every way. What about women, the stay-at-home mothers? What about women who are in the IT field? What about teachers? All these women never rehearsed anything. They were never given a kind of a rehearsal to face the pandemic. What did they do? How did they tackle it? Sheer optimism. See, whenever something serious strikes us, what happens? First, your first response is denial. We say, no, it will not come. That's exactly how we reacted last year, this time. We said, no, it is not going to affect India. It's a very warm climate. Ours is a very warm climate, and we are not going to have any kind of problem with the pandemic. First is denial. Second one is one of anger. Why it has to be me? Why it has to choose this particular generation? Why this particular year? Why this strong? So the second reaction is one of anger. Fine. And the third one happens to be one of depression. You get so depressed that you are not able to come out of it at all. But the fourth stage is what next? The fourth stage is the question, what next? Yes, of course it has come. We are beaten. Fine. We do not see the enemy. And in warfare, there is something very unique. There is some kind of a invisible weapon we use. Now, what is that invisible weapon? You withdraw. Withdrawal in the war field to wait until the right moment comes is a kind of wise war technique. So when we were asked to stay home to protect ourselves, what did the women do? That's why I say every woman is incurably optimistic. It is not pseudo-optimism. I am talking about realism. She knows what the problem is, but she does not halt at one particular point. She does not deny and stay there. She does not feel angry and stay there. No, she does not just lament over something. She does not allow herself to be depressed. She goes through each stage as quickly as possible and moves on to the last stage and asks the question, what next? Yes, it has come. How do I tackle it? Yes, it is there. How do I face it? What could be the solution? A woman would always love to be a part of the solution because she refuses to be a part of a problem. So O of womanhood stands for, at least for the woman who I have in my mind, O is for optimism. Okay, what does YUM stand for? See, each one of you can create your own the woman, but see to that she is a woman with definite article. Give all those qualities which you cherish in yourself, which you pamper in yourself. Put all those qualities. One is your word power will improve, and once your word power improves, your thought process will improve, and once your thought process improves, that will be put into action, and your action will become a habit, and your habit will become your character, and that will become the character and nature of the community in which you live or the community which you represent. If that is the case, YUM stands for the woman of my breed. I make it as mindful. The woman is very mindful. She is very, very mindful. What do I mean by being mindful? For W, I can put watchful also, mindful. She is mindful of the choice of words. She is mindful of her action. She is mindful because she is mature. M stands for maturity. It is intellectual maturity, it is emotional maturity. Fine, she knows it, and that's why I say she is very, very mindful of the choice of words she uses. She does not use a word which, any word of negativity. She does not bring about an action which will cause negativity. She is extremely guarded, extremely centered, extremely grounded. She is focused, and YUM stands for the mental maturity, or I would rather call it a mindful person, mindful of the action, who stands as a sentinel for his own thoughts and action. A woman who stands a sentinel for her own actions, her deeds, everything about her. Everything is calculated, everything is measured, everything is put to test before you just throw it out in the public. So her words are never pessimistic, never negative, never hurtful, because she knows by hurting somebody, you are not going to win the race at all. When you hurt someone, you are the first loser because you had no control over your tongue. Fine. So your actions, every action we know, it is not just the action which is going to affect an individual. If it is going to affect the family, by family, the complete village or the complete community or your own office, you will be extremely guarded. So M stands for mindful, a matured, mindful model or a role model for everyone. Then going for A, M-A-N, I take a singular, that's why it's womanhood, W-O-M-A. A again stands for alert. You will understand every attribute I give for each letter, it is interconnected with the other word. Anybody who is a warrior, anybody who is wise, anybody who is watchful, anybody who sees a picture as a complete thing, whole picture, will positively be an optimistic person, And if the person is optimistic, the person will be very mindful, and a very mindful person will be aware, situationally aware, which I call alert. A very alert person. A person who is so alert that she can listen to both the words said and unsaid. She could see through anything that is visible and invisible. She could feel any kind of thought or emotion which goes on in the mind of another person. She could be very perceptive. Her perceptions are very, very sharp. And that's why Bharatiyar gives a complete definition of his Pudumaippen. Nimirnda Nannadai, Nerkonda Parvai, the catalogue goes on, and you will understand all these attributes being brought to the woman whom I glorify, and I do not deify, because every one of us do have the woman in us. So we are mindful, and then you are extremely alert, you are aware. I do not attribute A to affection, I am sorry, right? So once you are an optimistic person, once you are a matured individual, once you are a wise individual, you know the difference between respect and affection, and you know what to be shown, how much should be shown, when should it be shown, and when not to be shown also. So WOMAN is for nobility. Any mindful person will not do anything ignoble, unbecoming, unworthy. Now what do I mean by that? See, if you are a woman, as I told you earlier, we are all divine spirits poured into a human form, and maybe we are poured into a woman human form. If that is what you believe along with me, right? Fine. Then how do I go about? N is for nobility. Nobility of thought, nobility of action, nobility of your deed. Anything unworthy, anything unbecoming, anything unwomanly, anything unlike you should not be your habit. No word unbecoming should be uttered by you. That's why you have your filter. That's why you are very mindful. That's why you are very mature. That's why you are very alert. That's why you are wise. That's why you are optimistic. So N is for nobility. Nothing ignoble of a woman of your stature. That is a woman who would like to call herself the woman. Ignoble acts should not be there in her life's dictionary, if I can put it that way. So WOMAN. Then comes H. H is for humane, being humble, being honorable, being humane. What do I mean by that? Being empathetic, having all the attributes of a total human being, being empathetic, being kind, being magnanimous, being very understanding. All these, you roll them all up into one word, humane, HUMANE. You are very humane in the sense that you have all those attributes which make you a total human being. You have nothing which can be compared to a beast out there in the jungle. You are an evolved human being. You are a civilized human being, right? If that is true, if you understand the concept of civilization completely and correctly and continuously also, because you keep on growing, if that is correct, fine. You are, H stands for being very humane. Even sense of humor gets included in this. What should be taken seriously and what should not be taken seriously. I am not talking about cracking jokes which will hurt another person. Taking yourself with a pinch of salt. Taking yourself with rich sense of humor. Looking at yourself, right? There are moments when you, in the most unguarded moment, your weaknesses come out. Accept yourself as you are and respect yourself what you are, for what you are. If you can accept yourself as you are and respect yourself for what you are, you will do the same to everyone. You will not take a scissor to trim and prune and tailor every other person you come upon in life. Accepting them gracefully as they are. That's what it means by being humane. Being very polite, being very humble, being graceful. Now that is a real beauty. Being very, very graceful. Let not other person call you beautiful, but let them accept that you are a smart woman with so much of grace, which is so unique, so rare, and you are a joy to be with. Let other people look at you as a reservoir of resourcefulness. You are then you will be a very humane person. You will be looked at by your colleagues. Your senior colleague may look at you just not as a junior colleague, but also a person, a reservoir of all great attributes, so that the moment of depression, moments of confusion, every one of your colleagues and your senior colleagues, your junior colleagues, everybody will come to you asking for some kind of an advice. You need not even articulate the advice. A mere smile from you, a mere look from you is enough to make them feel full and complete, or rather, just not absolute, but in super abundance. Okay, then we have 2 O's to go. First we had it for optimism. Now HOOD, 1 O is for, I put it as objectivity. Now that is a huge problem with women's psyche. You know what happens? We are in a profession, but unfortunately we become very emotionally involved in many things, as a result of which we are not able to step out of the problem and look at the problem. As long as you are a part of the problem, you can never be the part of a solution. If that is the case, objectivity is what I call professionalism. Objectivity, what you can do, you do. What you can try doing, you try doing. What you accomplish doing, you do accomplish. But there are areas where you cannot go beyond a particular point. It's not because of any kind of physical restriction. There are so many other factors that operate over there, so you have to wait patiently. And for that patience, you have to have objectivity. Objectivity is a kind of positive detachment from the problem. If you want to be a part of the solution, you have to remain objective. Look at the whole problem as if it is somebody else's problem, whether it is domestic problem or your professional problem or social problem or whatever it is. It may be personal, it may be one where you work as a part of a team, or you may lead a team. Whatever it is, wherever you are, if you can maintain this detached attachment, which I call objectivity, fine. My O of womanhood, the second O stands for objectivity, which men have achieved considerably. That's why men find themselves highly successful in the outside world. And that's what we have to practice. Professionalism, if it is intellectually challenging, let us remember there is no gender specificity at all. If I can detach myself emotionally from the problem and apply my intelligence, instead of answering a person, I remember to answer only the question, then I will understand I am an objective individual. There is next another O. I mark that O for observation. A woman who is alert, a woman who is watchful, a woman who is mindful, a woman who is always ready to plunge into action is an observer. You are in an area of science where observation is imperative. It's not only in your official backdrop, it is also in your domestic area. Be very observant. Let us not wait for a person to open his or her mouth to speak out the emotions, because we know your words are, after all, the tips of an iceberg. It is just a tip of an iceberg. What is hidden, what is unseen, what is unshown is much more than what you see, what is seen, what is shown, what is felt. Be very observant for both the spoken and the unspoken. Listen with your third ear. Listen with your third ear. Listen to the body language of a person. How can you listen to anything which is unsaid? You can listen even to silence. If you are an observing person, if you are an alert person, if you are a mindful person, you may understand how every letter I give an attribute to is interconnected with the other. It is it is a catalog which is interlocked, interchained. If that is there, O is for observation. And what kind of observation? It is continuous observation. It is a conscious observation. It is not a random observation. It is very focused, because nothing focused can ever be called observation. You don't just look at something, you don't just see something. you look at something with an intent in your mind, intentionally looking at something, that becomes observation. Fine. So in womanhood, the last O for me stands for being very observant in your attitude, being an observer, silently recording everything, receiving everything, replaying everything, and then going in for a judgment of what exactly it is. Not rushing through something, taking your own time internally to analyze and to synthesize so that you arrive at the right kind of conclusion towards the end. Now comes the last letter, D. It can be diligence, but already we have been very mindful, we have been very alert, we have been very watchful. Of course, we have been very observant, right? My D stands for dedication. It's not even discipline, because dedication is the kind of discipline which is permanent. So if you are dedicated, not only in the work field, please, as I told you, womanhood is an opportunity. Never ever will you get a chance to be this young or this old, or to be born again, to be present again amongst this audience, to celebrate this particular day. The time I started my talk is gone, and I will never get back. I can never relive it. Maybe I can relive it in my memory, or if it is recorded, I can replay. But even then, the intensity with which I emote every word of mine is something totally different, because it is glued to the present. If that is the case, again, D stands for dedication. Whether you mop, clean the floor of your house, a particular room, or you dust your computer, or you perform a particular scientific experiment, or you groom yourself, see to that you dedicate, even fixing food for your family, spending time with your family. Or as I keep talking with you now, other thoughts should get into my head, because these minutes are totally dedicated to a particular audience. I am a part of you. I keep listening to myself as I keep talking with you. I am not talking to you, I am not talking at you, I am talking with you. Though I may not be in a position to see your body language, I know a tilt of your shoulder, or the tilt of your eyebrow, or the raise of an eyebrow, or a smile on your lips, all these tell me that you go with me, you are with me as I keep addressing you. So I am talking with you. So D stands for dedication, complete dedication. Every little word you utter, every little deed you do should carry your signature. It has to carry your signature. It can be, again, there is nothing little or big about your deed or your action. That is your word. Everything you utter, everything you do has to carry you in that, because the you in you cannot be imitated by anybody else. You are so rare. You are the only person upon this planet at this particular point of time. If it is me, the only person who is talking, and if it is you, the only person who is listening, there may be other people in your room, but yet you are receiving me completely. So D stands for dedication. Whatever you do, give 100%. Why 100%? Why to stop with 100? You can go beyond that. Let it become something where it is countless. It cannot be measured, it cannot be counted, it cannot have a boundary at all. You become immense. You become so immense that every woman looks at womanhood as an opportunity for a Viswarubam. The magnificent person you are, that grew from a single cell and has accumulated memories so long, and you are seated there, and I have been invited. I'll never get a chance like this again. Maybe somebody may call me, I may give a similar speech. It will not be the same. The body language will not be the same. The smile will not be the same. It may be similar. So what happens? Every second is destined. Every person whom you meet has been already decided. This is a beautiful, beautiful game plan that has been decided and given to you. And this is your story. You are the heroine of the story. If you are a he, you are the hero of the story. If that is it, you decide to make your biography into a history, or her story, if I can elaborate it. It is just not biography. It is a history, and you have been given all the allowance. It is not somebody who is going to give you power. If you feel powerless, you are powerless. If you feel powerful, you are powerful. Power has to be generated from within. It cannot be drawn from outside. If you choose to be a reservoir of power for yourself, a power-packed person who utters power-packed words, who does power-packed deeds, who thinks power-packed thoughts, if you are a powerhouse, a mobile powerhouse, right, then you will understand what I said or what I have been telling you so long. Womanhood is a great opportunity. So all the very best, and thank you ever so much for this wonderful, wonderful chance, because I could recharge myself through my conversation with you. It is not a speech, I would call it a conversation with you, because I have to have somebody to listen to continue with this conversation. Thank you and all the very best. My best wishes and congratulations go with you. Thank you.